All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. So we are moving along to the approval of the agenda. And there are a few amendments made to the agenda for tonight. And so under hires, we are adding Jill Duricki for the varsity volleyball coach at Morrison High School, and Emma Sitzmore as an assistant volleyball coach at Morrison High School. And then also under old business, we have a discussion item for the Morrison High School boys basketball uniform request. And then under our certified staff hires, we have Dixie Schaff for high school math. So just want to make note of those adjustments. So do we have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving along to approval of the previous minutes. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the minutes of May 20th, 2024 as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving along to consent agenda, we have the district bills as of June 26, 2024, the building activity report, the non-certified personnel recommendations. There's no resignations. And at this time, there are 4 hires. As I mentioned, Jill Duricki, the varsity volleyball coach at Morrison High School, JC Schmidt, the 7th grade volleyball coach at Morrison Junior High, Emma Sitzmore, assistant volleyball coach at Morrison High School, and Nora Wenzel, the Northside office manager. Is there a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Volker,
Yes.
Buellton,
Yes.
Ronco,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Dantoff,
Yes.
Engelken,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Communication public comments. I forgot to, Will, is there anyone signed up on the,
No.
that's just sign in sheet.
Yeah. No. Nothing.
Okay. Okay. That works. So let's go to good news for around the district.
I just wanted to quickly thank the Masonic Lodge for sponsoring Bikes for Books at Northside and Southside both. What is very simple, student reads a book, they write their name in the class on a ticket, they put a ticket in a box. When the time period's over, I drew a name out, and that student got a brand new bike and a brand new helmet. And we had 202 students in the building participate, and they read a total of 1,146 books during that time. So thank you again. It was great. The kids loved it, and we really appreciate it.
All right, Southside, May 24th, obviously we had the whole tornado scare, so that threw a wrench into our plans. But staff came together, adjusted on the fly. So we had to push some things back to May 28th. We were able to do our SEL day. Ms. Robinson put together a phenomenal morning activity for our kids. They got to go to 9 different stations, participate, and just work on just kind of showing what they had learned all year through SEL lessons. And then Tracy Hansen put together an amazing field day in the afternoon. So I just want to give a shout out to them, thank them for their hard work.
Since we last met, we had a couple of big developments with our track team. Our boys track team competed in the state track meet at Eastern Illinois University. We had Brady Anderson place 5th in the 100 meters, Levi Milder placed 6th. And then 3 of the relays, each won a state championship at the track meet, the 4x100 relay, the 4x2, and the 4x4. And they ended up setting 2 new school records for the 4x1 and the 4x2. So a very successful team as a whole. And then even beyond that, and just this last week, individually, the Sauk Valley Media chooses track athlete of the year, and they actually chose 2 Morrison athletes, Brady Anderson and Levi Milder, were chosen as the co-athletes, which is fantastic. Kind of tying that in, if you've been by the high school lately or seen any of the pictures that have been shared out on social media, the track has been stripped, not only the top layer, the asphalt, and then in kind of the last stages before it gets resurfaced. I know that's been kind of a long time coming, so that's good to see the progress of that kind of every day as I come into work. On May 26th, we had our 152nd graduating class at Morrison High School. That was a great day to celebrate. A lot of friends and family I saw show up for the students. So it was a nice day to recognize all of them and their accomplishments. We had two boys attend Boys State at Eastern Illinois University. Gavin Streets Wood and Blaine Williams each attended this leadership conference. I know students that attended when I was in high school, and this is a really nice accomplishment for them, and will help them going into next year as seniors, kind of setting them up with some leadership skills and experience. We had 12 Morrison High School students, juniors and seniors, took a trip across Europe. That was something Mr. Ford and Mrs. Wheats, two of the staff at MHS, were served as chaperones for that. Having taken 8th graders to Washington, D.C. on a bus, I don't know if I would sign up to take 12 high school kids to Europe on a plane, but they did. All the kids got back, so there you go. They had a great time. A couple of pictures I shared with Mr. Vance. They were able to go to the Berlin Wall and then just visit many historical sites in Europe. It was a really neat experience. The last two are FFA related. The greenhouse, the preparation for that had begun a couple weeks ago. The ground is now set and clear. Some of the plumbing work has been done. So the next step is to kind of pour that concrete pad, and then it'll really take shape and take off. So that is solely volunteers doing that labor and that work right now, which is awesome to see the community support that. And then we had 8 students attend the FFA National Convention in Indianapolis. This was a great opportunity. This is annually the largest group of student group organized in the country each year when they have the National FFA Convention. And Blake Housingate earned his state degree, so that was a fantastic opportunity for him. And I actually misspoke. That was the state convention in Springfield, sorry.
Yeah. Great, thank you. So moving on to reports, we have our finance and facility report. So I'll kind of start with facility stuff first here. So looking at the north side junior high HVAC, it's not going great. There's been a few problems with the exhaust fan, with the speed control, the AC not working in a few rooms, electrical issues. I think a meeting is going to be held tomorrow.
There was one yesterday.
There was one yesterday.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone was supposed to go, and it was one of those trying to figure out who's at fault for what.
Right.
Different hiccups.
Was there?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. All right. So hopefully, I think the good news is if we can keep everyone in line accountable, hopefully that gets figured out and fixed at this time. We talked about the greenhouse. You mentioned it. I know Scott Fulkers has been there quite a bit working on the greenhouse. Anything that you want to say, Scott, about the progress?
How we appreciate the support,
Mhm.
and we're looking forward to having it done and having kids in there.
Yep, for sure. You mentioned the high school track project, and that looks to be going really well. As far as the scoreboards, John Hinsfeld and Mr. Mills, they've taken the lead on working through the scoreboards, and they estimate the installation to be late July. So.
Yeah, they have us penciled down. It's a 2 to 3 day installation project, July 29th through the 31st, the days that we are scheduled. There is a little bit of a hiccup. There's a vent behind the current scoreboard that requires us to get a bracket produced. It's not a matter of the vent, it's that it can't secure to the vent. So
Okay.
a bracket will come probably about 6 inches off the wall, and the board gets connected to that, and that secures to the wall. In working with our rep at ScoreVision, a couple other schools, he'd sent me some information, have had to do similar things in their gyms. So working with Vetker Steel Fabrication, they're going to work on making us a bracket.
Oh, nice.
I've already talked to Jeff Furch, exchanged a lot of information this week, just kind of jumped on that when I got back in the office on Monday. So it's a small curveball, but it will not create any issues major. Anything more, it might take a little more time.
Okay.
We don't need it till September 12th. The installation is scheduled for July 29th, so that builds in that time. Plus, we have about a month of lead time before the installation. So everything is falling in line, even though there's that minor curveball that we got.
Is that north or south wall?
That would be the big board. And I apologize for my directions. When you enter the gym, it's going to be the one you see across up by the wrestling room. So if you notice behind, it's probably a 10-foot by 5-foot panel of vent behind there just for circulation. There's no issue with the air movement. It's simply that is not the normal center block that you want to secure it to.
The bleachers aren't going to block that at all.
Nope. I mean, if pulled out and you're standing in the bleachers on like one end, you're not gonna see as well, but the idea is that's the best vantage point, that's where the big board goes. The other wall, it's similar to where the boards are currently. You'll see in similar locations.
Perfect, okay, thank you. So looking at finance, we did not have a finance meeting this evening, so we will jump to that in our July timeframe. But there really wasn't anything, big to discuss this month, but we will be getting to our amended budget anyway, which is our next action item. So, and then also enrollment report, there was a report in the board packet for that of where we stand. Looking at it's a similar trend every month, unfortunately, that I think it looks like we were at 992 last year. We ended up at 997 and then 975 at the end of this year. So hopefully those numbers don't drop even more than where we are. Now moving on to our old business. The first item is our Morrison fiscal year 24 amended budget. So this is an action item. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the amended 2024 budget as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And we luckily have Kyla here for questions. She knows the budget very well. It looks like we're kind of right on track of where we were planning to be.
Yep.
So I think that looks great. We talked about the fact that we are showing a bit more in the ed fund, but because of the losses in transportation and maintenance, that kind of evens itself out. Any other questions? We can roll call this.
Pronto,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Wolfson.
Yep.
Lucky.
Yes. Moving along to item B, the memo of understanding with the Morrison High School FFA alumni. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the memo of understanding with the Morrison FFA alumni as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And this is, we never approved the actual MOU. We had just approved building the greenhouse. So this just approves the signed document that we have, which is the memo of understanding that we had asked for, just kind of who does what.
It delegates who's responsible for what labor, what cost, now and going forward.
Yeah, exactly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moving on to the Morrison High School Junior ROTC and Firefighter Explorer Program. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the creation of a Junior ROTC and Firefighter Explorer Program at Morrison High School. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? I know Mr. Mills talked about it a bit at the last meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then moving on to the 2025 Morrison Board of Education meeting calendar. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the 2025 board meeting calendar as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? And this just avoids any holidays.
Okay.
So, so one of the things we're looking at. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of the agricultural grants. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the fiscal year 25 Three Circles Grant and Agricultural Incentive Grant. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
I guess thank whoever took the time to write the grants.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
And I believe we might be getting more money.
Yeah, the one thing that the state of Illinois seems to be funding at a good rate in Illinois is education for agriculture. So the allotments increased at the end of these grants that we're currently in, then the allotment for next year increased by about $3,000. So it's money that we can use within the Ag Ed program to pay for professional development, to buy resources, to bring in technology, and then also to pay staff to incentivize and keep teachers.
Yep, for sure. Okay, great. Don't know if we need a roll call on this, but probably to be safe, just do it. Okay, so roll call.
Folkerts,
Yes.
Wolfson.
Yep.
Trombo,
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, so now moving on to new business, we have the release of used books and equipment. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the release of the used equipment and books from Southside Elementary as presented.
Are we doing the basketball?
Yeah, the basketball.
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally missed that, you're right, okay.
Okay,
No.
back to old business.
Well, and that was just a discussion item. so
Yes,
it is,
you're
but
right, You're
yes.
right, you're
So
right.
so keeping in with the old business, we have the Morrison High School boys basketball uniform request. And this was, Mark Ernst had brought that to us. And looking at our policy, we provide uniforms anywhere from every 2 to 4 years based on how often or how much money the school provides the team. So he is requesting, uniforms haven't been purchased in almost 4 years, I believe. So he was requesting the support for that. There was a conversation of when we require that submission. At this point, and according to the policy, the request is reviewed in October, but there was a thought of whether we should move it to June so that they could be approved at the June meeting. Any thoughts on that? Seems to make sense.
Yeah, thought you said take 5 weeks
Yeah.
to get them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that just assures that all of our teams have the uniforms in place for that school year. So, okay, we'll kind of look at that moving forward. Okay, so now we can move on to new business. So now we have the release of the used books and equipment. Did I already read the motion? Okay, so do I have is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? There was a list provided. Unfortunately, the books that I read in school are no longer, they're like the classics. Charlotte's Web and all that is no longer the cool thing to read. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moving on to the 6 through 12 curriculum adoption. The motion is that the board approves the adoption of the Reveal math curriculum for grades 6 through 12 and agrees to a 4-year contract with Reveal. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
I would like to thank Mr. Mills and Mr. Robbins for coordinating the teachers, junior high and high school, getting them together to come up with an alignment to build the program and have continuity. Thank you.
Yeah, it seemed like both principals were involved. They also had all of the math teachers present, and this seemed to be kind of the general consensus of what they were looking for. We will be able to use ESSER funds for a good majority of it, and then Title II would take over the difference. Is that usually how that works?
We're gonna use Title II, then we need to create school-wide plans for the
Okay.
junior high and high school.
Okay. But
We
We'll
at
add
least,
that.
yeah,
We can be looking.
but at least ESSER is gonna cover a good majority of that cost. Any other questions? Okay. Roll call.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Folkerts,
Yes.
Wolfson,
Yes.
Trombo,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. The Southside Science Curriculum adoption. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the adoption of the next generation science curriculum for Southside Elementary as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? This also.
I'll just say, I
Yeah.
want to thank you guys for Southside, Mr. Corbett for, doing the research and
Yeah, and I definitely want to thank Devin Garzadan, Amber Wright, and our third grade team for a lot of hours and looking at a lot of different curriculums.
thank you.
And I think what's really neat about this, I mean, visually, it's just very appealing. But then the ability to print out what we have and not worry about a room textbook and having the money for that. And, we're saving so much money with the printing and all that. So I think that's going to be really useful. So that's great. And hopefully incorporate, the technology with that. So it looks really neat. So let's roll call this as well.
Trombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Folkerts,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Moving on to the surety bond reduction. The motion is that the Board of Education approves the payment of 10% of the overall cost for the district surety bond rather than the normal 25%. Do I have a motion?
Can we have discussion first?
Yeah, no, you have to do a motion.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, second.
Okay, discussion, yeah, I don't know what this is.
So we normally, it's a bond that we have, we normally pay 25% every year, but they are letting us only pay 10% of it.
Correct, because the cost to the school districts has become much higher with that. So when we had our audit last year, that was one of the things they changed now is you only have to do 10% for the school districts.
So it's just how much you have to pay on that.
Okay, no, I got it. Wasn't sure.
So we're
Yeah.
just pushing off paying it longer, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be in more debt.
No, so this is, you have to pay like 10% each year, so it just depends on what your last like financial report was. So usually it stays around the same of that, and I have to do like an application every year. So it does fluctuate based on what of our expenses for the previous year were, so.
So because our previous expenses required the 25%, now they've reevaluated and we only need to pay the 10%.
So it's just gonna take longer to pay off.
No, this is just something school districts have to have each year. It's essentially called like a treasure bond. So it's not even, we're not borrowing money. We just have to have this to cover in case something were to happen. This
Okay.
kind of helps
Like a
cover.
catastrophic kind of.
It's like a
Yeah.
self-insured type deal.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
The money in your savings account. For
Yeah.
bad days.
Well, I
So it's
like
not
that.
us paying on a bond that we're owing money on.
No.
We pay this every year.
We're putting it,
We're
we're putting it in, we're putting it in the account.
Rated.
Yes,
All
we're putting 10% of rainy day, 10%. Yeah,
She explained it much better than I
I
understood.
didn't hear
I'm
rainy
glad
day.
she was here. Okay.
But let me ask you a question. I mean, is it because we're not able to pay 25%?
No, this is just, they did it, the whole state of Illinois now only has to cover 10%, just because for all school districts, the fee, like you have to pay an annual fee for this, so it was becoming high for districts, so they decided to move it to 10, so it was cheaper for them.
Okay. Well, that was nice.
Yeah, well, next year they'll bump it to 40.
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, we'll be working next year.
No,
Get
I
something
know.
back.
Okay, thank you.
Let's do roll call on this.
Damhoff,
Yes.
Engelken,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Crombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, so moving along to item E, we have the collective bargaining agreement with the Morrison Education Association. So the motion is that the Board of Education approves the collective bargaining agreement with the Morrison Education Association as presented.
So moved.
Second.
So do we have any discussion or questions?
I guess what's the, this
That's
is,
the teacher's contract.
okay, it's just the one that we've already agreed on, okay.
Yeah, so we have to officially.
Yes, okay.
So they ratified and then we.
And I also want to thank the teachers
Oh, yeah.
group. I found that very informative, and I really appreciate the time you guys took, and I hope that some of our communication gap can get better and move forward, because I found that, glad I took the time to go through that, and I really appreciate your guys' working with us to make everything better for the future, I feel.
Thank you. We felt the same way, that it went well and communication was great.
Maybe I won't get elected for next time, so sorry. I'm glad I got to go through it.
All right, let's do roll call.
Engelken,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Crombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Damhoff,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, so moving on to the certified staffing hires and resignations. So the motion is that the Board of Education approves the hiring of the following individuals as certified teachers for the 2024-2025 school year. We have Lindsay Anderson, at the 5th grade at Southside Elementary, Corey Bielema for high school science, Azalea Ramos for K-5 art, and Dixie Schaff for high school math. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Okay.
Welcome.
I like that Corey's coming back. I like all of ours, but I just had to mention that.
Roll call.
Folkers,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Crombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Damhoff,
Yes.
Engelken,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Okay, so moving on to the second, the motion is that the Board of Education approves the resignation of the following individuals as certified teachers effective immediately. We have Sierra Stanton from 5th grade at Southside Elementary and Rachel Tomaszewski, which was K-5 music. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? Roll call?
Ewaldson,
Yes.
Crombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. And our final, we have administrative contracts. The motion is that the Board of Education approves administrative salaries for the 2024-2025 school years as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any questions, discussion? Okay, roll call?
Crombo,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Danhoff,
Yes.
Engelkens,
Yes.
Folkers,
Yes.
Ewaldson,
Yes.
Lucky.
Yes. Is there do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We don't have a second.
What?
Yes.